So welcome to the sinking of the Japanese battleship in World War II called the Yakamura. Now we're going to use Mikhail's Navy as a way of telling us the truth. Remember, things are flipped over in the hoax-lie system. What appears to be comedy, just for the sake of comedy, is actually truth. So there was no battleship by the name of Yakamura in World War II, but nevertheless, there were many created and invented by the media battles, and we're going to see how they do that by watching this particular episode of Mikhail's Navy from season 2, and it was broadcast January the 7th, 1964. January the 7th, 1964. So I'm going to, for the moment, leave the sound off. And this may take 2 or 3 videos. So I hope that you enjoy this, and we'll just kind of work on it together. Okay, here we go. Sorry for the delay. Okay, there's the PT-73, and 3 7s, 21 is the devil's number. And that's the so-called Yakamura. This is the opening. And Ensign Parker is going to be the hero, and Commander Mikhail is the coward right now in this opening. So we might say this is the creation of a World War II hero. Now, that's the fantasy of Ensign Parker, as Ensign Parker is writing his World War II novel. Now notice the photograph of his sweetheart. Now there's Fuji, who's the prisoner of Mikhail and his gang, Japanese prisoner, whom they love dearly, and they have a wonderful relationship. Now this is the intro to all the episodes, where they have some lively music, and they will give you the stars of the show, Ernest Borgnine. And this particular one comes to us in 1964, as I said, January of 1964. So Ensign Parker, played by Tim Conway, is busy writing a novel. And you can see the old-fashioned typewriter on the table. Now, I needed typewriters when I was in college. And of course, Gruber, he's the one that's always coming up with some scheme to get rich or scheme to help somebody or something. Now, the letter is from Parker's girlfriend, and it's not a drop him letter, but it's she's going out with another guy who shot down Messerschmitts, a hero in the German aspect of World War II theater. Now, remember something, they call it the Pacific Theater, and they call it the European Theater, and that's for a reason. Now, the photo of the girlfriend of Ensign Parker, played by Tim Conway, is in front of you because Parker's losing her. So the guys come up with a scheme, and the scheme involves sending off some false information to news reporters. I repeat, false information that will be published in the local newspaper. So here's the girlfriend receiving the information that Ensign Parker, her boyfriend, has sunk the Yakamura. Now Parker, of course, is still disillusioned and downcast, and the show always featured a lot of good comedy, slapstick comedy, and that should be an indication to you that there's something weird about war, in that just about 20 years after World War II, we have these comedy shows like Mikhail's Navy. How can Americans watch comedy if a war was about death and destruction? Now, it doesn't make any sense unless you realize that in Greek and Roman literature, particularly Greek literature, there were two types of literature, and that would be comedy or tragedy. Now, that's the dilemma that you must face. Now, Parker has been, in a sense, demoted, and he's doing pest control. Spraying, that was probably meant to reflect the spraying of DDT, and DDT certainly was behind polio in the United States, because DDT paralyzes the nervous system, and Americans were sprayed everywhere with DDT. So Captain Binghamton is going to get sprayed with some kind of a pesticide that's really toxic, and it's comedy. So just a few years now, there's the newspaper. Hometown sinks, hero sinks the Yakamura. If I was good with my control system here, I would maybe freeze frame that and let you see it. But that's what war is about. Creating these battles through media. And in 1964, the main media for folks would have been newspapers and a little bit television. But mostly it's about the creation of the battle situation and then the creation of the hero. So Parker has been nominated to get a medal, but Captain Binghamton doesn't know that it's Parker, And of course, his assistant there, Carpy, or Lieutenant Carpenter, will convince Captain Binghamton on your left with the glasses that indeed the medal is going to go to him because there's no one else that's worthy of a hero's medal. Okay? So Parker has been humiliated and demoted, and of course Captain Binghamton thinks that he's going to be exalted. Of course, he's practicing his speech for the acceptance of the medal, which he knows is phony because he did nothing. Now, Mikhail doesn't really know yet what his pirates have done, and he has no idea that Parker has been selected to be a big hometown hero. So he's in this room just pleading for Parker. Now in walks the Admiral, because the Admiral's going to assign the medal. Now the bestowing of medals enters you into the realm of witchcraft. Now, I know this. I was never in the service, never received, quote, any medals, but I remember one time being in a grocery store, and there was a man on with a hat about serving in the Gulf War, and he said, "Oh yes, and I got a medal." And he said, "Do you want to see it?" I said, "No, it's okay," but he insisted on showing me. And he pulled it out of his pocket, and I am telling you the truth, I could feel the evil power emanating from the so-called medal. Now, why in the world would he be carrying a medal with him to the grocery store? And why in the world would he talk to me? I was a total stranger, just a shopper in the grocery store. Well, anyhow, I've done some videos about medals and their connection with the world of the occult, because they get empowered through witchcraft. Incidentally, that's why you see so many war memorials throughout our land. Even the smallest towns in America will have these war memorials. Now, it might sound a little bit strange to you, but when I get near them, I can actually feel the power of the witchcraft emanating from these stones or these monuments. Have you ever asked yourself the question, why are there so many places in the United States that you can go to that was some battlefield for the Civil War or the so-called American Revolution? Now, of course, another thing about Mikhail's Navy is that they show that really there's a friendship between the Japanese, that would be Fuji, who's seated at the table there, they're prisoner of war. Now, the proof is going to be right here in the newspaper. Hometown hero sings Yakamura. That's the proof. The newspaper is the proof. In a lot of ways, the television news was the proof. Now anything that you see generated on your computer is the proof. Right at this moment of making this video, it's coming out about AI. Incidentally, that's Parker. He's ready to go on a combat mission because he thinks he's a big hero, but he knows he did nothing. But he's going to play along with the image. Of course, there's some comedy. He pulls a pin on a little hand grenade and throws it out. But you've got incredible amount of witchcraft going on the minute anything is brought up about war, any war. Now on one of my other videos, somewhere, I have several channels, I have videos scattered all throughout. In the United States, the history of the United States, 92% of it includes war. And incidentally, that parallels world history. World history is almost the same, about 93%. So in other words, you can't hardly talk to anyone at any particular time where there wasn't some war going on, either that their country was involved with or was off in some distance. So you need to ask yourself the question, is that really the way people are? Or we, like Parker, we can't wait to put on a helmet and strap 5 or 6 hand grenades, have binoculars and a gun, and we're just ready to go out there and kill and shoot somebody or sink a ship and kill lives. Is that really the way human beings exist? So now Commander McHale is still puzzled. What's going on? What's going on? And I says, the boys think we better tell him. We better tell him the scoop that we sent off a fake news story. And there it is, once again, the proof is in the newspaper. I did some videos and I called them noose papers, like a noose around your neck. Holy moly's! Jumping Jehovah, jumping jacks. What do you guys do? So now McHale is really ticked off, and he is going to explode on his pirates. What'd you do? What'd you do? You sent this news story off? Oh my! So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop right here and keep my camera rolling, and I'm going to go into part number 2. End of part 1. Oh, there it is. Now the Japanese get hold of the story about the Yakamura being sunk. So that's going to tick them off. So once again, the newspaper is kind of a transition. And if I was good with all my devices here, I'd freeze it and blow it up for you so you could take a closer look at it. So I'm going to end part 1 and we'll go to part 2.